Hello, Dancing with the Stars fans. I'm Daniel Montgomery, senior editor at Gold Derby, here with Gold Derby contributors Jeffrey Kare and Cordell Martin. We're here to talk about Bond Night, the third week of Dancing with the Stars, season 31. Let's get started with the ultimate outcome. We had Cheryl Ladd and Sam Champion in the bottom two. They were not the bottom two dancers on the leaderboard, but they were the bottom two after viewer votes were factored in, and the judges voted unanimously to save Sam Champion and eliminate Cheryl Ladd. Cordell, what did you think about that?
Yeah, not surprised with the bottom two and the elimination of Cheryl. I mean, we kind of knew her fan base was a little weak after her bottom two appearance last week. Sam Champion, I knew once he had the samba, it just was gonna be doomsday for him, unfortunately. Hopefully next week he has a great dance style that will hopefully get him out the bottom two, but it doesn't look really good for him next week.
Yeah. How about you, Jeffrey?
Well, I agree with what Cordell just said. Even though I thought Cheryl and Louis both, I thought they did a step up from their routine last week. But yeah, I wasn't surprised to not only see them back in the bottom two, but to see them go because, you make it in the bottom two 2 weeks in a row. Your odds are you're going home the second week, which, let's hope that doesn't happen with Sam next week, that he doesn't end up in the bottom two because if he does, then yeah, I have a feeling he'll be a goner by then.
Mhm.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that Vinny Guadagnino from Jersey Shore, he this is the second time he's been at the bottom of the judges' leaderboard, but he's never been in the bottom two so far. So he definitely has a fan base. What's interesting is that I don't know if we know if anyone else has a fan base because most everyone else's scores have been middle to high. So they've had sort of a buffer. We haven't seen them really tested. Who else do you think might have a fan base, Cordell?
Oh, looking at the list, I mean, I definitely can see Charlie probably having a fan base, just because of her social media following. Wayne Brady, I think he has a solid fan base. He fits the Dance with Stars demographic well, as we know him pre Disney Plus, so we don't know what the demographic looks like now. Let's see who else I think Sangela, I think she has a sizable fan base and probably one of those stars that's kind of growing with their fan base week after week. Um, let's see, there was Selma and Daniel, I think also probably built in their fan bases, especially Daniel week after week. Um, and let's see, there was one other person. And I would guess Gabby just because of the history with the Bachelorettes, but I'm not sure about that one, so we'll see.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, yeah, I think all of those do sound reasonable for having, a decent decently sized enough fan bases. And I guess maybe Jordan Sparks could finish that group as well. I mean, she's an American Idol winner. She's still top. She's a successful recording artist. So, but and yeah, and to add off of what Cordell said about Selma and Daniel, they're just how well they've been doing despite their disabilities. I think I can see their fan bases continuing to grow week after week.
Yeah, and who do you think Cordell has a limited fan base, but they haven't really been tested yet because they've sort of had enough of a buffer. But once they're tested, they might be in trouble.
Oh, let's see. There's four stars, I think. Trevor, I think he started off strong, but I think he's going to be kind of one of those contestants as the competition goes on. It's going to fade in the background. Um, Jesse, still curious about her fan base. I mean, I know in the past the country stars like Lauren Elena and Kelly Pickler, Jana Kramer do really well. So I'm really curious to see how her fan base will hold her throughout the week. Um, let's see, Jordan Sparks. I think if she doesn't have a breakthrough dance, I can definitely see her landing in the bottom um, sooner than I would expect. So I think she might be tested down the road. And probably, let's see, who was the other one? And maybe Joseph. Just because with him not really having a fan base, and even just the background in the story with his dad as well. Like it's not like we have Arnold Schwarzenegger there, rooting him on as other, child stars or children of famous celebrities. So that's gonna be another celebrity that'll be very interesting to see in the upcoming weeks how they will fare with the fans.
What do you think, Jeffrey? Is there anyone that you're worried about with the fans?
Well, I do agree with Joseph and Jesse. Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I'm not sure if their fan bases are strong enough to get them far. Oh, same with Trevor, even though I do think he and Emma have been getting better week by week. And I am starting to wonder about Sam Champion. Again, I'm not sure if him being veteran weatherman, I'm not sure if he has a big enough fan base to keep him going. I mean, and as I mentioned earlier, if he doesn't get himself out of the bottom two next week, well, then it could be in big trouble. I mean, this past week alone, I thought he and Cheryl Burke, I thought Sam did best he possibly could with it, but the overall routine was just all right. But yeah, again, as I mentioned, I think he could be on shaky grounds in terms of fan bases.
Yeah, and what's interesting is we haven't seen the bounce back effect. Like when someone is in the bottom two, their fan base will often, come through the next week and try and save them. But we haven't really seen that. I don't know if that's a factor of the Disney Plus move where there's just not enough of those fan bases to really give someone, or if it's just these people who've landed in the bottom two, just no one cares. These poor people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Another one who we haven't mentioned yet, who I think might be in trouble the first time they have a low score or a lower score, might be Heidi.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think the D'Amelio vote is probably gonna go with Charlie for the most part. I
Yeah.
don't know that she's gonna stick around for very long if she has a struggling, a struggle of a week, or if she's even in the middle or bottom half of the
Yeah.
leaderboard. She might, we might find out what her fan base looks like then. Now on the top of the leaderboard, and what's interesting is for the last 2 weeks, we've had the exact same three celebrities tied at the top of the leaderboard with the exact same scores: Wayne Brady, Charlie D'Amelio, and Gabby Windey. And it's interesting, it was not only the same exact scores, but the same exact spread of scores with eights from most of the judges and then a nine from Bruno, who gave all three of them nines, was the only judge to give nines this week. Um, is that just going to be the top of the judges leaderboard, some combination of those three for the whole rest of the season? Can you see anyone else actually topping the leaderboard, Cordell?
I mean, I think for majority of the season, it'll be a combination of those three and maybe them alternating week after week. I think we might see a few other celebrities kind of pop in and out. It will just depend mainly on the theme and what type of dance they're doing, or if it's like, those gimme type of routines like your jazz or, Argentine tango or even a waltz, like if Selma gets a waltz or something, I can see her getting, nines or tens, or even the contemporary. So depending on the dance style and the theme, I could definitely see one of those mid-tier celebrities kind of breaking through and topping the leaderboard.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I agree that I can definitely see those three, staying on top for a while. As the competition progresses, it should be interesting to see who could possibly get stronger and more ahead. Like, I can see Selma and or Daniel possibly coming close, but it should be interesting.
Yeah, I think Selma and Daniel are going to be very style dependent on whether they get one of the higher scores. I don't think either of them is ever going to get the highest score of the night on like a quick step or a jive or something like that. But they might on waltz, contemporary, one of those dances, especially a dance that gives them a chance to be do partner work in hold, a lot of stuff where they can have direct support from their partner, which I think is going to help both of them and has benefited both of them already on the show. So I think that they're possible. I would love to see Shangela, because I think Shangela has what it takes to get one of the high scores.
Yeah.
They just haven't popped yet, or well, or it's really just been these three who are so proficient that they've just been stayed at the top. But I think Shangela has it in her.
Yeah.
Um, and uh, uh, we had a ton of rumbas, which was over the top because we had different dance styles. Like you could have had more Argentine tangos or
Yeah.
tangos. You could have, rumba is not the only style of dance that would work with a James Bond number. You could have had a paso on some of these, maybe.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
did it get monotonous for you, Cordell, or did you feel like there was enough variation within the choreography of those routines?
Surprisingly, I will say there was enough variation because to your point, I was like, oh, this is going to be a long night. But the pace was pretty on point. I didn't feel like it was dragging, as one would assume with a lot of the rumbas. What was interesting was a lot of the stars who wouldn't necessarily struggle with the rumba. It seemed like they just gave it all to them this week to like, okay, here's your dance, get out the way. Because as the weeks progress, dance styles like the rumba, if it's not popping, you could be in the bottom. So for a lot of those stars that are, top tier, this was kind of like that give me dance style that they can get out the way now as opposed to when the competition gets stiff.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I thought that for the most part, everyone did the best to diversify each other's routines. Like I thought there was more than enough variety, and Wayne and Whitney's routine in particular, I thought it really played out like a James Bond scene very well. But yeah, I didn't. Yeah, but yeah, I thought each routine or is able to keep the energy up.
With that, I think we should start talking about next week's show, the Disney Plus night, or as I like to call it, intellectual property night, where everything Disney owns and is on their streaming service will is up for grabs. And I sent you guys both the list of dances that will be performed. So, you guys can open those up and we can go through them and talk about them and see what looks good and what looks bad. I did sneak a peek earlier. So, when you were talking jazz, I was like thinking, yeah, we're going to get some jazz. Um, and poor Sam Champion is not getting any help. So with that, I will just run down the whole list of dances, and then we can talk about what stands out to each of us.
Mhm.
Um, Joseph Baina is getting a Charleston
Ooh.
to A Star is Born from Hercules. Selma Blair is getting a Quick Step to the Muppet Show theme from the Muppet Show. That's a little worrisome. Wayne Brady is getting a jazz routine to Wait For It from Hamilton. Sam Champion is getting a Paso Doble to The Greatest Show from The Greatest Showman. Charlie D'Amelio is getting a jazz routine as well to The Simpsons main title theme music, and Mark Ballas is going to have a field day choreographing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heidi D'Amelio is getting a Viennese waltz to Chim Chim Cheree from Mary Poppins. Jesse James Decker is getting a jive to One Way or Another from Hocus Pocus 2. Trevor Donovan is getting a samba to Life is a Highway from Cars. Weird combination of song and dance style there.
Yeah.
Uh, Daniel Durant is getting a quick step to finally free from High School Musical, the series. Vinny Guadagnino is getting also a samba to a song in the Italian title that I can't pronounce from Luca. Shangela is getting a Charleston to dig a little deeper from The Princess and the Frog. Jordan Sparks is performing another jazz routine to Remember Me from Coco, which we've seen on previous Disney nights. And Gabby Windy is performing a quick step to Mr. Blue Sky from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So we've got some of those gimme dances, those dances that look like they're going to be built for high scores, like the jazz routine. We've got those dances that are built for low scores, like the samba and the paso doble in the wrong hands. What do you think of those dances, Cordell? What stands out to you?
Yeah, definitely. I think all eyes will definitely be on Wayne and Charlie to see which one of those two will get a 10. I think we might see the first 10 of the season, probably for one of those two. I could definitely see Sangela having this be her breakthrough moment with the Charleston. I think she has the personality to really sell it. Let's see who else. Gabby, I think will do well with the quick step. Jordan, it's going to be tough depending on when she performs her jazz routine. If she performs it before Charlie and Wayne, I think she'll get very decent scores. But if she's performing after them, we shall see how that goes because there'll be a lot of pressure to live up to what the other two couples will be doing. Definitely nervous for Sam, nervous for Trevor, Benny, and Jesse. Unfortunately, out of those four, I would be surprised if two of those four are not in the bottom two next week.
Yeah, what do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, Wayne's performing to Wait For It from Hamilton should be interesting, given that he actually sang that song as Aaron Burr, the Chicago production a few years ago. And Joseph, well, I can definitely see him looking the part of Hercules pretty well. And Sam, I can at least see him donning the P.T. Barnum costume from The Greatest Showman pretty decently. Whether how he does with the routine, that's a different story. And I can definitely see Shangela donning the Mama Odie costume from Princess and the Frog. But now, in terms of song choices in general, well, there's some interesting variety here from different properties from not only Disney and Disney Plus, but also Fox and Marvel. And well, it should be interesting to see how everyone's going to do with the production values and on their feet.
One thing I'm noticing is that with the two celebrities that have those challenges, Selma and Daniel, they're throwing them in the deep end early in the season. Daniel has a quick step, and Selma has a quick step as well. I feel like they're sort of doing this deliberately because if they get one of those harder dances later in the season, when there are fewer celebrities left, they might fall in their scores a little bit. But now there's still wiggle room where they can have not the best night potentially, although they've both exceeded expectations with every dance they've done so far. But if they have a rough night, they probably have enough of a buffer to survive. So they're like, okay, here's your jive, here's your quick step. And then, we'll see, then when the rubber meets the road, they'll get their contemporary, they'll get their jazz, I do think all those jazz routines are interesting. I do think they're trying to set up Vinny to like maybe have an off night, but I still think his like if it were just him getting a tough dance, maybe, but they didn't do Sam Champion or his knees probably any favors. Poor guy I think he's gonna struggle. And the temperament of the Paso Doble also might be difficult for him because I know Carrie Ann Inaba was saying she wanted more intensity from him. And he has this very bright sunny disposition, and that's just not going to cut it on a paso. That'll be interesting to see. I do think, unfortunately, this is a bad sign for Sam unless he's lucky enough to land in the bottom two with Vinny, in which case I think the judges would vote to save Sam.
Yeah.
Do you think Sam is out, or who do you think is going to be eliminated, or who do you say would be in the bottom of Cordell? Just from this list.
I mean, I think it'll be a combination from between Sam, Jesse, and Trevor. I think Trevor kind of went backwards this past week with this dance, and I'm not sure how he's gonna handle, just how that was received, to see how he will do with the samba. Jessie, I think for her, what's gonna mess her up is just her confidence. I think with her scores being so this week, and with her really thinking she did well, I think Alan's going to have to really, just build that self-confidence for her, because I could see that rattling her and really messing up her performance on Monday. Vinny, they're trying to set him up, but he's going to be like grocery store Joe. Like, I'm already accepting it. He's going to be here for the long haul. I don't think he's going to make it to the finals per se, but he's going to be here a lot longer than what I think the judges are predicting.
What do you think, Jeffrey? Who do you think will be our bottom two and eliminated?
Well, I can see. Well, I agree with Cordell. I can see it be a combination of Sam, Jesse, and or Trevor, and if it's either Jesse or Trevor along with Sam, then yeah, I see Sam going. Although if it somehow manages to be Jesse and Trevor in the bottom two, then I don't know. Man, yeah. I mean, I guess maybe Trevor, and it could be either one of those two.
Yeah, my guess from these dances, I would say Sam is in the bottom two, and who he's there with is what will determine his fate. And I would guess, the person who will get unlucky with the samba would be Trevor instead of Vinny. And the judges would probably save Trevor unless his samba is that bad, which is always possible. You never know. It's gonna be rough to try and do a samba to "Life Is a Highway." Like, of all the songs to perform a samba to, like that doesn't compute. Is it going to be a Latin remix of "Life Is a Highway"?
The nightmare.
That's just they did not do him any favors either. So I think those would be the bottom two, unless Jessie really struggles with her jive. I think she could have one of those redemption weeks where the clip package is all about her feeling low about the scores and then building her confidence back up and then giving a good performance, and then the judges say you did it, and then they give her a good score. Unless she jive is tough, unless she really struggles with it. So that's possible. Anything else you're looking forward to? Are excited for these particular themed dances, Cordell?
Well, I will say I love the variety, because after a while, like, it was getting repetitive with the same songs that they were using for Disney Week. So I'm glad that we just see a whole new slate of songs that I don't recall has been performed before. At least just looking at the list initially, maybe the Muppet Show theme might have been performed once by like Aaron Carter back in the day, but not as of recent. So I'm very excited to just see these new Disney songs and Disney Plus shows or related shows being performed.
Yeah, what do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I agree with Cordell. I mean, I guess that's the nice luxury of Disney owning so many properties, especially from companies that aren't under the Disney banners, that they have more to pull from than just their own back catalog. So, yeah, I'm interested in seeing, some variety in terms of song selection. I'm also always interested in seeing the production values of it all.
Disney owns so much intellectual property that they somehow didn't manage to fit Star Wars into
Oh
the
yeah.
Disney Plus night, which is something I just noticed. I was like thinking, oh yeah, they got a little Marvel in there, but they don't have a Star Wars,
Maybe the
which
opening song.
could be. Maybe
Yeah,
they're saving that for the opening.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
well, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. I want to thank Jeffrey and Cordell, as always, for joining me, and everyone for watching and listening to us blather on as usual. And we will see you here next week to talk about Disney Plus night.